Just weeks before my biggest ride of the year, the one that I've been training for a few months now, the 122-kilometer RBC Gran Fondo Whistler, my fitness fell off a cliff. My Strava fitness score dropped from 50 to 37 in just 3 weeks. And the gap between me now and my fittest self feels huge. Up until July, I was training like a committed beginner, tracking rides, struggling through climbs to try and keep improving, and I was kind of feeling ready. And then Calgary had its wettest July in 90 years, 90. And on the rare sunny days, I found myself super distracted by shiny summery stuff. And then I had a crash. It looked minor, but my arm ended up swelling and kind of looked like a corn on the cob had decided to reside in it rent free. So now I'm doing something that I love doing. I am running an experiment on myself to see how quickly I can undo the damage from a month of barely riding. Well, a month of belly riding, I would say like 3 weeks to 4 weeks of belly riding, and figure out whether 10 days of retraining is enough to make up for all those lost gains. So it's day one now, and I head straight to my benchmark hills, which I realized was a bad idea. My legs dead. I bailed on one climb. That was the first time I'd ever done that. But then forced myself back up, and the climb ended up feeling about twice as long. So I just needed a different plan for day two. So day two was an easy does it sort of day, swapped pain for pleasure, picked a flat route, blue skies, no numbers, just the sound of tires and pavement and wind in my ears, a good reset before the suffering started again. Day three, zone two and zone three intervals in the gym, and my heart rate was sky high. It was just out of control. I learned from this coach on YouTube, a YouTuber who's also a competitive cyclist and a coach, Dylan Johnson, that after a break, blood plasma levels drop. So when the blood plasma volume drops, that means less oxygen delivery, less cooling. You overheat faster, your heart works harder, muscles feel heavy, and that's exactly what it felt like. Day four, the legs felt a lot better. I was back to the hills. I tried this thing called beta alanine or alanine. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's supposed to help buffer lactate, and one of the side effects is tingly hands, but you can ignore that unless it lasts for longer than like an hour. Um, that's totally normal, apparently. Anyway, I finished all my climbs. It was slower than my pre break speeds and pre break time, but over 90 kilometers was done today. And if I could do 90 kilometers today, that really does mean that my body has not forgotten. Even though I was slower, just the fact that I could finish 90 kilometers without any problems is a good sign. So I'm not really starting from scratch. Day five was a no bike active recovery day. So I went on a hike with friends and their doggies. Sometimes recovery days are just as important as the big session. So I'm not seeing this as a lost day. It was very much part of the plan. Day six, I rode with a much faster buddy. So his easy pace is not so easy for me. So my legs were burning. Uh, my lungs were doing their job, but I hung on, and my Strava score jumped 2 points, I think, today, which was a small but nice win. Days seven and eight were a bit of a grind. I did zone three and four intervals over and over in the gym on the bike, just to prep my legs for the Fondo's rolling first 70 kilometers. The first 70 kilometers are these rolling up and down hills. And by the end of that, my quads were toast, but my engine kind of felt stronger, like my aerobic heart lungs engine. Day nine was zone two. I went 70 kilometers at a fairly chill pace because I knew that day 10 was my final day of this challenge, and that's when I was going to do all the climbing again to see how I matched up compared to the beginning of this experiment. So yeah, here are my results from the benchmark climbs of day 10. I did 3 climbs, which I usually do and have been doing for the last few months now to see how I've been progressing. And pre break, so pre this 1 month of much less riding, I did Scotsman Hill in about
Yeah,
a minute
let's
28
go.
seconds. Day one of the experiment, I did it in 2 minutes and 13 seconds, so significantly slower. And by day 10, I was back to a minute and 28, which I think is awesome. Then we have Edworthy, which is a bigger climb than Scotsman's Hill. Pre break 6 minute 41, day one of the experiment 7 minutes 28, and day 10 6 minutes 59. So a significant improvement in these 10 days, but not quite back to my pre break levels. Then we have COP, which is the Calgary Olympic Park, or it's the Canada Olympic Park. I'm not really sure. We just call it COP. Pre break 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Day one 10 minutes 42, and day 10 10 minutes 08. So there's still great room for improvement on the really long climb, but it's way better today than it was on day one. So I'm 10 days in, having lost about 21 days of fitness, and I'm kind of back there. But am I at my absolute peak? No. But my legs are back, my head is feeling good, I'm feeling more confident, and I just feel like I'm back in the habit of cycling again, so I can continue on from here, knowing that those 21 days were not totally lost. Like, it did take a little bit of work to get back to that level, but I am pretty much back. I would say a few more days and I'll probably get there. So, yeah, have you ever had to bounce back before a big event? Drop your best comeback tip in the comments. Hit like if you fought your way back, subscribe for more cycling stories, and share this with someone that's training for something big. If they're training for the RBC Gran Fondo Whistler, share it with them, or any kind of big event where maybe they're a bit anxious and nervous about taking a summer break or recovering from injury. It really feels like, yeah, the first few days are going to feel terrible while your body's readapting to exercise and endurance stuff. But it really feels like the body bounces back way quicker than one would expect. I sort of expected that it would take the same number of days. So, like, 21 days off means 21 days of regaining those lost days, but we're 10 days in and pretty much back to normal except for that really long climb. So, yeah, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone that's training for something big. I will see you in the next video. Let's go!